say Happy New Year. This is the first time I've seen you in the new year. But I'm actually pretty distracted. I didn't expect to be offended this morning in a way that is going to ask me to challenge your leadership in this moment. So today, we were coming here as the union to talk about your renewal plan, and specifically how it relates to schools that will probably be on strike in February with our union. But then I was struck because I had a conversation with a mother, a Black mother from the South Side of Chicago who lives in Roseland. And I am so compelled in this moment because this feels like season 13 of Hunger Games. And this season, we're going to highlight charters. But here's the punchline, unfortunately, is that all of the characters in this Hunger Games season, limited series, I guess, are like, they look like me. And so while it was their parents at first, now they are parents and they're having the same situation. So it's like, let me get this straight. Every single year, with every single generation, we're going to keep having the same conversation on whether or not Black children, brown children, the children that live in Chicago or on the South Side or on the West Side, Southwest Side or Southeast Side, we're going to like debate what they deserve. I'm offended. And I'm offended because my work at the union should never compromise my standing as a Black mother in the city who has had the toughest time figuring out what public school means and how it is supposed to be of service to us. So I'm going to use my time today to say that on the occasion of a new mayor in this city, on the occasion of a resolution that says that you all are committed to reevaluating how equity plays out and what it impacts and who it impacts the most in our system, I want to say that you have our support at the Chicago Teachers Union to do that. And that is because I do not want to see the elementary school student who's with her mother today stand up here when she's a mother and beg the next board to do the same thing. So I'm going to say that the debate on whether or not anything should exist has to start with the realization that this school district does not have a baseline. So when people talk about choice, that rings hollow to me because I'm going to choose between wearing Jordans, the 1s, the 2s, or the 3s. That's a choice. They are great gym shoes, just different ones. Who's choosing a school in Roseland? What school have we given a baseline in Roseland? What school are we choosing in Pilsen? What school has been given a baseline in Pilsen? And then you ask, what is a baseline? Right? Is it special education services? Because we don't have them at Instituto. We have had to literally negotiate in our charters language for them to follow the law. But we had to do that for CPS schools too. You see the point that I'm making here? See, our union is committed to using our collective bargaining process to make it better. Because here's the punchline. Our members live in the city, and because they live in the city, they pay taxes in the city, and they want the public schools to work because it makes it easier for them too. 80% female, which means many of us are mothers, many of us are doing this too. And another punchline, it's hard for us as well. So I'm going to take the helium out of the balloon and say, I'm not here to fight any Black or brown mother who needs their life to be a little easier. I know what that feels like. What I am going to say is that we have an opportunity to get this right. And so let me talk a little bit about this opportunity. Our collective bargaining process is used. I'm telling y'all our secret here. This is the secret sauce. We use our collective bargaining process to make school better. At Acero schools, there is now a direct pipeline for TAs, Latinas, to become teachers because we enshrined it in a contract. So there's your bilingual teacher pipeline, right? At CICS, we went on strike for 2 weeks. We did at Acero too, so we didn't just bargain a contract, we struck for this. At CICS, we bargained for wraparound services, so they have social workers in the building. We also bargained for sanctuary in these schools as well, especially because of the population of students that they serve. So at Instituto right now, we're fighting with them about bilingual services, and they are receiving our newcomers in that space. You see the dissonance here? So while we're going to stay committed to using our collective bargaining space, our authority in that way to make schools better, we're going to need your help on making renewals better, because it shouldn't take people 10 years to hire special education staff. See, the renewal from Instituto last year said that you needed special education staff. It said that you needed to tighten up the bilingual. And then this year, we're bargaining over it and headed towards a strike because they ain't put it in there yet. So what is a renewal process, right? So I think one of the things that we can agree with is that the renewal process has to reflect the impact in the school community, and that our collective bargaining agreement is a companion to that. Number two, turnover, right? We keep talking about a teacher shortage. Well, we have put the charters in a position of where the ones where we've bargained, they have to pay people. Now look at the places where they are paying people better, and look at the fact that those people are still working in that school. There is something to paying people what they are worth to get them to stay there. Another example of the collective bargaining being a tool for school stability. But that's not enough, right? Because we are trying to stop this new baby who's in elementary school from standing up here when she becomes a mother and having the same conversation her mother is having. So we need help. We need to establish a baseline, and that baseline has to be across the board. Any school you go in Chicago, public school, has to have a music, art, world language teacher. It should have a fall, a winter, and a spring sports program, a band or an orchestra, because if you're in band and orchestra, chances are you're doing math well as well. Works together, it's the patterns. And so how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to say we're going to continue to use our collective bargaining process to do that. That is the commitment of all of my members, almost 30,000 of them. So we're going to do that. We're going to bargain for the common good, but we're going to need some help with this renewal process. We got to change it in a way that reflects what the people, the stakeholders in those school communities deserve.
You have 2 minutes remaining.
Almost done, thank you. And then we need to create LSCs so the parents who are here today have a landing place. Like, those parents need to be able to hire their principal too. Those parents need to be able to reevaluate the budget and make sure things are going where they need. See, I believe in that. They deserve that agency. And here's the other thing that we have to do. We got to work on transportation, because these schools aren't always located in the communities in which these people reside either. See how global these issues are? And finally, they also have children that are unhoused. Instituto is getting children who are newcomers. So I invite this Board of Education, I invite the parents, the charter industry, administrators to also join us in bringing Chicago home, so our students in CPS, coupled with the children who are in the charter design, get an affordable place to stay. I appreciate you, and please hear this as a call for collaboration, as a call to ground our work in the people who deserve it the most. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.